Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, once again doing another Halloween theme review, and this one is on the 1980 film The Shining. Now, as you know, The Shining is a 1980 psychological horror film that was produced and written by Stanley Kubrick, as well as being based on Stephen King's 1977 novel of the same name. Now, there are differences between the novel and the film, and I know Stephen King did criticize the film for its differences from the novel, as well as film critics like Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel sort of not understanding the message of the film. But I think from a newer film critic's own view of it, I would say the theme is more about self-isolation and loneliness, and how sometimes it can bring out the worst in you. So the premise of the film is meant to follow Jack Torrance, who is this inspiring writer and recovering alcoholic. Now, Jack's character, I would say, is a bit of a sleazeball, a bit of a guy who's down on his luck, and we kind of see how after an interview at a hotel in the Colorado Rockies, he's pretty much tasked with being the caretaker of the hotel there and staying there to kind of keep everything in check. And we see how he does bring his family along. Wendy, who's kind of playing the supporting role for the family and trying to help Jack out, and Danny, who is basically a kid with psychic abilities, which is called The Shining. And I think as the film starts, we do kind of see how Jack's mental health starts to deteriorate, and we do kind of see how over the course of the film, Jack slowly becomes a shell of his former self. And I think what the film is really trying to tell is how self-isolation, loneliness, and misery can bring out the worst in you. And we do kind of see how it brings Jack out to his full force. And you do kind of see how one of the other residents there, known as Dick Halloran, does kind of help Danny out, and both of them do share a similar psychic ability. I think what's interesting, the actor who plays Dick is basically Scatman Culvers, who was also known for voicing Jazz in the 1984 Transformers cartoon. I think what kind of makes the ghostly presence there work is that it's kind of clear they're trying to bring Jack out to his worst points, and I think when you do have Jack meeting the sort of previous caretaker, Delbert, when he does say, "I'm not the caretaker, you are," it's like him saying, "My job is done, but yours isn't." And you can tell the residents from the hotel, the ghostly spirits, try to bring Jack out to his worstest, and we do kind of see how Jack eventually becomes the shell of his former self. And I think it's interesting how The Shining has been parodied by The Simpsons, Family Guy, Tracy Beaker Returns, and Samurai Jack. And keep in mind, this was done by people who've watched the movie and showed their respect for it. And I think when you've got the ending where Jack is frozen to death, and when you do see the photograph in the hotel way with Jack in the picture, which was back from 1921, I think the ending was meant to show that, well, Jack tragically died, his spirit was now with the hotel staff, in a way being the place where he was going to be, where he truly belonged. And I know people get confused about the ending, but I think the way I saw it was that, well, Jack was miserable, sad, and kind of pathetic. The ghosts there were able to welcome him in and kind of let him in once he died, and now being part of the hotel. And I think, yeah, sometimes loneliness, abandonment, and sadness can bring out the worst in you, turning you into something far worse. I think while The Shining isn't a perfect movie, and I can understand why Roger Ebert, Gene Siskel, and even Stephen King washed their hands of the film, but for me, I think it's still enjoyable. So I think it still deserves A thumbs in the middle. Well, it's not perfect, it still delivers a good story. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.